Hi everyone, these are some of the craziest cheating stories on TikTok.
So I'm going to be doing a story time about how I caught my ex cheating. Because I know we've been waiting for this story time and I've been constantly asked about it, and so here it is. How excited are we guys? Because I'm excited. And while I do this, I'm just gonna be touching up my makeup because I can't just sit here and talk because I'm literally socially awkward. So anyways, me and my ex used to live in Austin, Texas together because we were just so dedicated to our relationship that we decided to move in with each other way too early. Don't do that. Advice from me, don't do that. Just don't move out of state with your boyfriend. That's horrible. Don't do that. And so anyways, his friend's birthday was coming up, and he didn't have the money for the flight, so of course I freaking paid for it for him, and I paid for a lot of things for him. And so he was like, babe, I want to go to my friend's birthday party, but I don't have the money. Can you give me the money? And I was like, I love you. Of course I can. Don't do that either. Anyways, and so he goes on his flight. He's with, he's gonna go see his boys, because you can't forget about the boys. So he flies over there, and he's doing his thing, and he tells me, he's like, hey babe, I'm gonna go to Hermosa, to a bar or something. He's like, it's gonna be super chill, no one's gonna be there, it's just gonna be me and fucking what's his name. And so of course I'm like, yes babe, that's totally fine. And I was going to bed because it was nighttime, so I was like, I'm gonna go to bed, but you have so much fun. I was way too trusting for this person. So he finds a girl, and let me tell you a little bit about this girl. I knew this girl's brother. I know him. I'm just like, damn, out of all the girls you could have picked, you picked the one that I actually have a somewhat connection to. Never said he was smart. And so anyways, he goes, they're both drunk, and they're kind of hooking up with each other. And, it is what it is. Of course, I don't know. As I'm sleeping peacefully in Austin, Texas, he's over here mingling and living his best bachelor life ever. And so anyways, and then after that day when he goes to drive up to San Diego, because that's where they're having the birthday party or whatever, he goes and he's hitting her up constantly, and he's like, oh my goodness, come to San Diego with us, if you want a good time. That's literally what he said. I have the text messages, I'll show that at the end. Anyways, and so he's like, if you want a good time or something, he said something along that, and she's like, no, and not even responding to him. She was just being hella dry. And I'm just like, oh, that's so embarrassing for you. Dude, you're literally trying so hard and you're not getting attention. Ew. So anyways, that's what happened though. So let me tell you how I found out. So I moved out. We had a whole argument, so I moved out. I left. Peace out, homie. And so I was already preparing myself to leave. And so I moved back into my mom's house back in California, and we were kind of doing long distance or whatever. And so I'm on FaceTime with him, and I'm doing a little long distance cutesy little relationship. And I'm like, let me go through my requested DMs, because why not? Haven't been in there in a while. Bro, the first message that was there was, hey girly, I hooked up with Ryan at this time. I'm not sure if you guys were still dating. I was with him through this date to this date, da 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 da. And at first I was like, I'm not reading this. This is not happening. This is not me. I'm literally a catch. I don't get cheated on. And so I'm reading this and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And I'm on the phone with him. And so I'm like, hey, do you know who so-and-so is? And he's like, no. Okay. Well, she says she knows you. And he's like, I don't know who that is. I really don't know. And so I'm like, okay, well, she says she knows you and that, you guys were hooking up with each other. And he's like, what? They're just trying to break us apart. They're just da-da-da-da-da. There's girls that are jealous of you out here. And he was trying to say that. And I was like, okay, I don't think so. And then he was saying how he doesn't know who she is, whatever. And then I was like, okay, well, she's saying this. And then he's like, well, she might have been there. I might have saw her there. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, well, she might be in the friend. She might have been in the friend group. And I'm like, how does it go to, no, I don't know her, I don't know who she is, to, oh yeah, she was in the group. And I thought there was no girls in the group. I guess she wasn't necessarily in the group. They met her at the bar, but still. So anyways, and he was like, I would have never made out with her, because I was like telling him, I was like, well, you know, she said that you made out with her. And he was like, I would never make out with her, da 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 da. And I'm kind of like, all right, well, she's pretty, so like, and anyway, and then I was like, okay, well, she has a video, and she said she's gonna send it to me, so we're gonna see. We gonna find out. This man went to super calm to freaking ballistic. Like, he lost his marbles. His marbles left the chat. Like, they were not here anymore. He was like, I'm so sorry. No. I can't believe this. Like, I made such a bad mistake. I was drunk. I was this. I was that. Like, she took advantage of me. Like, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, first off, you were, like, into it in the video. Like, you were really you were into it more than she was into it. So, her taking advantage, I don't really think so. Anyways, and that's how I found out, and he went crazy, and he wouldn't stop bothering me for, like, literally, like, fucking 3 months straight. And so, here are the freaking screenshots. Sadly, I'm not going to show the video, though, because I'm not trying to expose the girl. Like, what? What? Like, what? That's crazy. Crazy. So, that's the story.
Can you believe that? She paid for him. She gave him the money to go on this trip, and he winds up cheating on her while he's there. That is so horrible. But you know what I thought about that? If you think that someone's cheating on you or lying to you or things of that nature, I feel like that'd be a very good move, is to say, oh, I got a video of you, and just kind of trick them and see what they say. Because the moment she said that she had a video, maybe she didn't have it, but she did have one. But imagine if she just said that and she didn't have one, and she told him that, he just told her everything. As soon as she said I have a video, he told her everything. So I feel like that would be a good tactic to try if you ever, feel like someone's cheating on you, someone's lying to you, you caught someone doing something. That'd be very interesting to tell them, well, there's video of you doing it, or I got the text, even though you don't, just say it and see what it seems like. If you do that, a lot of people will just break. You can break them in that moment and they'll tell you all the truth. Like she said, his marbles left the chat. So after she told him she had the video, that was it. He told her everything. So that's really heartbreaking, though. And imagine, this girl is so gorgeous. It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter if you're gorgeous, if you're the nicest person in the world, if you do everything for people, they will still cheat on you. They'll still lie to you. They'll still stab you in the back. It has nothing to do with you. Because I used to think that too. I thought, oh, well, if you're so pretty, then they won't cheat on you. No. It has nothing to do with you. When someone wants to cheat on you, treat you bad, mistreat you, friends not treating you right. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It's because they are bad people. You could be the biggest angel. You could give them you give them a kidney, and they'd still do this stuff to you. Because when people are bad people, that's it. It has nothing to do with you. And this girl is actually very lucky that she found out now, before she wound up getting married to him and finding out that he's a bad person. Because if they're married, he's going to be doing it. He's going to be doing it to whoever's next. He's going to be doing it for the rest of his life, unless, God intervenes and sets him straight. Because if he doesn't have any conscience to not do these kind of things, then at this point in time, he's never going to have them. Because that's really horrible. And then he was chasing that girl down. It wasn't like he really was drunk. That could happen. Someone could get drunk and maybe they make out with someone, they don't know what they're doing, or do something that they wouldn't do if they weren't drunk. But he wasn't. He was texting that girl continuously, hunting that girl down. It wasn't just a one-time mistake that he was drunk or something like that. Nope. He knew exactly what he was doing. This TikToker actually found out, I believe she was dating a married man and she didn't know it. So let's check out this TikTok.
Guys, I've been unintentionally gatekeeping this story, and now it's time. About a month ago, I went on a first date with a man I had met on Hinge. We'd been talking for almost a month before we went on this first date. On our first date, he told me he had been separated for 2 years and divorced for 2 months, which felt a little quick to me. Yeah. I shared with him that I had been recently love bombed and that I was really trying to slow things down on the dating front and take things really slow because I learned my lesson. Right after the first date, next day, he immediately asked me on a second date. I'm like, no, don't want to move too quickly. Ask me on a date for the next day. No, don't want to move too quickly. Tuesday comes around. He's like, do you want to go on a date tomorrow? Meaning Wednesday. I was like, look at you planning in advance. Let's do it. I said yes to Wednesday. I had plans that Tuesday night to go over to a friend's house for a going away party. And he texted me and was like, hey, I can't wait until tomorrow to see you. Do you want to just grab quick drinks before your going away party? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So we go out to drinks at this awesome spot in DC. And while we're sitting there, we're having normal conversation. And I'm joking about the fact that he is 36 because I always find myself dating people in the age range 34 to 36. It's just like my sweet spot. And he's like, well, actually, I have to tell you something. I'm actually 39. My age is wrong on my Hinge. And I was like, do you think I'm stupid? If you got divorced 2 months ago and that's when you made your Hinge, you were lying. If you made it back when you were 36, you were cheating on your wife. So what? Also, I'm pretty sure your Hinge updates every year, like as you get older. Like I'm pretty sure it changes by itself. So I was like, what the fuck? That's so weird of you. I literally demanded he show me his physical ID because I thought that was so weird. And I was really creeped out. And honestly, I should have been out then. So I see his ID, he's actually 39, and I say to him, this is so weird of you. There's no good time when you're dating girls on Hinge to tell them that you're not the age you put on your profile. Like, you could tell them in that first message, or you could tell them like when on your wedding day, and no matter what, that's fucking weird of you. Like, that's never gonna be a normal conversation that girls are just okay with. Like, just make it your regular age. Obviously, you're trying to show up on Hinge for like young women who you can, whatever. Anyway, so we finish drinks, we kiss, it's a good time. He goes home, I go to my friend's going away party, and I pose a question to the group. I'm like, hey, he lied to me about his age. It feels kind of sus. What does everyone think? My best friend, who was right, is like, get out of that situation. That is freaky, girl. But all my other friends at the party were kind of like, oh, you're just collecting data. Like, that's a first data point. Like, yes, that's concerning, but why don't you collect more data and see how you feel about the guy? Because at the time, I really liked him. We had great chemistry. He was super attractive. Like, we just vibed. But also, like, maybe part of that vibe and part of why that was exciting is because I could sense, like, something was off, or, like, we had that chemistry because, like, there was that excitement and spark. But, like, a lot of the time, like, good, healthy relationships start, like, more of a slow burn, or, like, with a friendship. Like, I should have known that that spark was indicative of, like, there's something wrong here. So now it's Wednesday. It's time for our pre-planned date. And the first 2 dates, he had come into DC for me. He lives in Maryland. So I said, hey, I'd be happy to come out to Maryland for you. I feel badly that you're always coming to DC. And he was like, well, you don't have a car. And I was like, I have a Metro card. And have you ever heard of that Uber? Or do 36-year-olds not know about Uber? He was like, oh, I have a surprise for you. Be ready at 7. Me, having watched every fucking rom-com, was like, this is so cute and romantic. I'm so excited. Dumb, dumb, dumb. So he comes, he picks me up in his car. I'm like, wow, this is like a real date. He's picking me up, he's driving me to the place, and it's all a surprise. I don't even know where we're going. He takes me to this restaurant in DC called Mercy Me. Food was incredible. And I'm like, thank you so much for dinner. Like, was this a surprise? And he's like, no, I have one more surprise. This man proceeds to say, oh, I have to work in Arlington tomorrow, so I decided to spend the night in DC so I don't have to schlep all the way from Maryland to Arlington for work at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Spending the night in DC, got a hotel room, but what he didn't do was ask me to stay over with him. Like, he's that good. Like, he didn't ever explicitly ask that. He made me think it was my decision. So dinner ends, we like go to a bar, we grab a couple of drinks. I'm not even drinking. I'm literally like dead sober, and I made these decisions. But we walk out of the restaurant, he's like, do you want me to drive you home, or do you want to come up to my hotel room? And I was like, I could use a hotel room tour. I go, hotel room tour, one thing leads to another. Take that as you will. Probably wasn't my best call. Anyway, I wake up in the morning at my own house. I'm on a high. I'm like, last night was so amazing. He's texting me. I'm like, we're getting married. But then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking really hard about it. And where he lives in Maryland is like 30 minutes from me. And Arlington is like 20 minutes from me. And I don't understand logically why someone would get a hotel in the city to not have to drive an extra 20 minutes in the morning. Something's not adding up. My spidey senses, something was wrong. My gut, women's intuition, something was off. I start thinking, I offered to come to his. He lives in his own house. I, live in a house with 3 roommates. The only reason I wouldn't want someone to come to my house would be if I was still living with my wife. So that activates the crazy in me. And I go to the internet and I pay for a background check, $25. Highly recommend doing that. Honestly, do it before your first dates. I should have done it way, way back. And I find every single thing about this man, right? Like his entire family, every address he's lived in since his college dorm, every traffic citation he's ever gotten, every piece of dirt on this man. And you know what isn't there? Divorce papers. So I start freaking out. I'm like, why are there no divorce papers? Could they be sealed? Like, are divorce papers even public record? I've never been divorced. I call the Maryland County court system and I ask them, hi, do you have any divorce records under his name and his wife's maiden name? They don't have any. I say, can you tell me if there's a sealed record under either of their names? They say, yes, we can tell you if there's a record, but we can't tell you what's in it. I said, awesome. Do you have records under either of these names? No records in the state of Maryland. I contact my family friend who's a lawyer. I say, hey, do you have to get divorced in the state where you're living? And they said, yeah, you have to get divorced in the state where either you or your partner is living. And I had both their names on the lease of their home address from my background check. I knew they both lived in the state of Maryland since 2012. If they had gotten a divorce, it would be in the Maryland court system. So I'm realizing this man is married. So what do? I go on Facebook and I post in the Are We Dating the Same Guy DC Facebook group. I say, hey, this is Danny. And I include a picture of him. I say, he lied about me to his age. Something feels sus. I tell the whole hotel story and ask anyone if they know anything. Within an hour, my post is blown up. Hundreds of women commenting how sus the hotel thing is and that it's happened to them before. He's definitely married and cheating. A couple hours later, a comment comes in. Hi, I'm the wife. Call me. I'm so sorry to do this, but I have to do a part 2. Come to part 2 to find out what the wife says.
Wow, guys, I have to find out. First of all, that was very smart of her to contact the state of Maryland to check the divorce records. I didn't know you could do that. I have gotten background checks on people before for different things, and it never tells you about marriages and things like that. So many of those background checks, they really don't tell you they do tell you the addresses, but they never really tell you very much. But that was amazing of her to contact the state. If any of you guys, gals, anybody out there is dating someone, that's such a good idea to call the state and see if there's divorce records. And then to post in that group, are we dating the same guy? I gotta go to that group. Wow. I mean, not I'm married, but just to see, I just want to see what's going on, because that is crazy. Let's check out part 2 and see what happened.
So I pick up the phone, and of course the first thing I say is, I'm so sorry I'm sleeping with your husband. If you're new here, click on my profile, check out part 1. I'm telling the story of how I found out I was dating a married man. So at this point, I've called the wife after she commented on my Facebook post saying, hey, I'm the wife, call me. And she's like, no sweat off my back. I'm like, what? And she proceeds to tell me the craziest story I've ever heard in my entire life. Here's the thing though. This is her story of her experience with that man. And I recognize that's not necessarily my story to tell, so I'm going to be very conscientious of the details I choose to include, and I would ask that you please respect that. She goes on to tell me that he's cheated on her hundreds of times with at least 20 different women. They still live in the same house, which is, my intuition was right, but in separate bedrooms, and they're not together, they're technically separated. I asked why they weren't divorced yet, and she said he doesn't want to get divorced. Guess what? She knew about me. She said he told her that he was going on a date with me, and he even recapped it after. Not only that, but he was literally talking shit about me. He told her I was crazy and I talk too much. Arguably true, but screw you. But she also told me in that week that we had gone on our first 2 dates, he had also slept with 3 other women. For the last 8 years, he's been sleeping with one woman in particular, which is actually what his job in Arlington was. And they first started sleeping together when she was 19 years old, and he would sneak into her parents' house to hook up with her. He's incredibly abusive, controlling, manipulative. In all seriousness, I cannot recommend strongly enough to stay away from this man because he is very convincing, and even I was swindled. And let me tell you, in this moment, I felt so naive. I was really hard on myself. I felt really guilty and really dumb. How could I let myself be in that position? And honestly, really scared. Like, I was in a room with this man in private, and now hearing that he has done all of these things, like, I put myself in a really dangerous situation, and I don't want anyone else to put themselves in a situation like that, because in retrospect, that's really, really scary. And I could have gotten really hurt. And I think the other thing about this that I've taken away is that I'm feeling really jaded, because how can I ever go on a date again? I talked to this man for a month. We went on 3 dates. I really felt like I had started to know his character and his intentions. And how can I ever trust someone again after this experience? I've paused all my dating apps. Like, I will not be dating for the foreseeable future. I sent him a long series of explicit voice memos. I tried to post them previously. TikTok took it down, understandably, for bullying and harassment. Yeah, I blocked him on everything. I told him then and there that I was about to post his name all over the internet. Here it is if you need it. Because really my intention with this is to protect other women. As funny as my last story time is, which it is, it's funny, it's a crazy ride, it's also a story about trusting your gut and trusting your intuition. Women's intuition is never wrong, And we will always find out. That's one thing about us women. I reported him to Hinge, and as far as I know, they've shut down his account. Not to say that he couldn't make other profiles or profiles on other apps. And here's my advice to women. Number one, it's not your fault. You did what you could with the information that you had. Number two, trust your gut. If something feels off, it is. Number three, get out at the first red flag. Do not give anyone the benefit of the doubt ever. Remember, you are smart, you have agency, and you can get out of situations like this. Thank you guys for listening, and stay safe out there.
That's so sad. That guy looked super old. I don't know how old she is, but she looked like she was 20 and he looked like he was like 45. The fact that his wife, you see how his wife didn't care? Like she knew he was telling her about, I know someone like that. And she thought it was the best thing ever that her husband was cheating on her. She actually liked it. She actually told me that it made their relationship more exciting and that then he treated her better. And he was buying her stuff, more stuff, like he would buy her necklaces and things like that. And she thought it was great. I'm just saying that you can't believe it, but there are people, there are people out there, wives or husband, I don't know, and they don't mind their spouse cheating on them and they actually like it. I can't imagine, but you know, so I did a video like this and a few people did mention in my comments too. They said, oh yeah, I want my husband to cheat on me because, you know, they don't want, I guess they don't want anything to do with him. So they're hoping that someone will take him off their hands. But some people, like this girl that I knew that I was just telling you about, she claimed to love her husband and was in love with him and in a romantic relationship with him, and she just liked that he would cheat on her. And again, she thought it made their relationship more exciting. And he bought her these things. He was buying her necklaces, like to make it up to her. I don't know if he was trying to make it up to her because maybe he thought she cared, but she didn't care. She didn't care. He probably could have saved his money on those necklaces because she did not care. So I don't know why. And she would brag on it too. And she'd be like, we have the best relationship, you know, and she said they were like, she'd be like, we're more educated and we're more intelligent. That's why she was nasty. In my opinion, she was nasty about it because she would say, we're so intelligent. But I don't even want to tell you what happened to that guy. I don't even want to tell you guys. But he wound up being on one of these shows like Chris Hansen. Okay? Do you know what guys, what I mean? When Predator and things of that nature. So this guy sounds like a predator and looks like he was going after young girls. And that is really horrible and horrific. This girl is lucky that she didn't get some kind of disease from this guy. And even now, she's going to probably remember this for the longest time. Like she said, she feels horrible. When you hook up with someone, their energy goes inside of you too. So she's got all his disgusting energy in her. So, wow, that is just really heartbreaking. It's really scary with the dating apps. Well, it's scary anywhere. These people are everywhere. There's just people everywhere that are just down to do horrible things. I can't believe she showed his picture though and wrote his name. But good for her though, because this guy is definitely, he seems like he will not stop. He will not be stopping anytime soon. He'll just get on another app. So here's another TikToker who's going to share how she caught her, I think it's her boyfriend or her husband cheating on her.
Get ready with me while I do a story time about how I caught my ex-boyfriend cheating the first time with a voice recorder that I planted in his car. With 108 hours of audio that I sat through and listened to before I created my file and left his ass. So, me and my ex were dating for about we dated for a total of 3 years at the time. It was a year and 8 months, going on 2 years. He was fighting a case. He ended up going to jail for 6 months. Out of the time we were together for those 3 years, he did 6 months in jail, 6 months out on house arrest. So, when I caught him doing what he was doing, he was on house arrest. At the time, he had to be back in the house by 10 o'clock. So, you know, he had to do what he had to do throughout the day, run his errands, and be home, obviously, at that time. So, I would say maybe 2.5 months into him being on house arrest, I felt like he was acting very funny towards me. Mind you, yes, held him down when he was in jail, made sure he was great, Didn't she was the best girlfriend in and in out. I really do feel like that. I'm not perfect, don't get me wrong, but like I was loyal, and that's mainly important, and I was there for his mental health. So fast forward to when he came out of jail, right? He's on house arrest. You know, I just feel like he's moving as he should. He wants to be outside more, hang with his friends as he should. I just had like a strong intuition that he either was cheating or he just, I don't know, maybe was not into the relationship anymore or whatever it is. I knew the problem was not me. So, and the problem with me was that he was not me. That's red flag number one. So, fast forward, like I said, 2 months in, we would go maybe 1 week without having sex. 2 weeks without having sex. Okay. It's only one answer. And before I become a crazy bitch, I'm like, are you happy? Let me know now. Because, like, I'm not the type of bitch to be like, I'm obviously not doing something right. Or, you know, what do I need to do to fix it? I automatically knew it was him. I knew it wasn't me. Like, I knew it was him. You either moving funny and you're feeling guilty about it or whatever. But the type of person that my ex was, he was very tactic. Like, no one calls his phone. Whenever I go through his phone, there would be nothing in there. He cleans it like it's always like deleted message. Like, it's clean. Like, even the messages between him and his friends are clean. I asked him, is he happy? I felt like a little disconnect between us. He said, no, I'm tripping. Like, I know I'm not tripping. Ladies, don't ever think you're fucking tripping. Because that's literally your female intuition that God gave us. So I'm like, all right, he moves so tactic that the only way I'm gonna catch him, or basically catch him or find out, is if either I pop up on him wherever I think he is and find him doing something or what. But at the time, I had sold my car. I gave my car away to my little cousin because I was about to get a new car. So those like 3 months, you know, I really didn't have a car. I would Uber everywhere, or we would just share his car. So, and don't ever do that. Before, like, I didn't really need the car. I didn't really go anywhere. I might as well have gave my car to someone that needed it. You know what I mean? So, long story short, that's besides the point. Right? Me catching him out was not gonna help because he, like I said, was very tactic. So at this point, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? How do I catch this nigga? Wherever I pop up at, he's not on nothing. He cleans his phone out. But I know something's up because obviously my intuition. I'm calling one homegirl, I'm telling her. I'm calling another homegirl, telling her. The last homegirl I called, she's like, oh, you know, like, if you feel like that, then you probably right. Like, I'm like, yeah, what do I do? She was like, well, I caught my ex, my baby daddy at the time, cheating because I planted a voice recording in his car and I was able to hear everything he was doing and where he was going. I'm like, word? She was like, yeah, like, the amount of shit I done seen and I done heard, like, it's over. Like, even up to this day, they're not together anymore. But she was like, one thing I will advise you is, if you're not ready to leave, don't even put that shit in there, because the type of shit you hear, like, even like the innocent conversations, like, you really might get like fucked up in the head mentally. And I'm in mind, I'm like, what? Like, I'm leaving. Like, I hear what I need to hear. I'm out. I just need confirmation. Mind you, me and my ex-boyfriend at the time, we lived together. We had a lot of like investments and shit together, things like that. But none of that mattered to me. I'm like, if I hear some crazy shit, I'm out. Right? That wasn't the case. So boom, she sends me the link or the screenshot to get where to get the voice recorder from Amazon. So I ordered this shit. I kid you not, guys. I ordered it to my mom's house because he checks the mail. I check the mail sometimes. It all depends. I ordered it to my mom's house. Pick it up. The next day it comes, or I think 2 days after it comes. And The first 3 days I had this shit, I just could not, like, something was turning in my body. I could not grow the balls to put this shit in his car. And the way the voice recording is set up, the reason why it's so much audio built up is because it records up to like 200 hours or something like that. And it's not just recording. The only time it records is when it hears people talking or audio. It records and then it shuts off. So it saves the battery, and then you have really just accurate audio of when whoever's in the car talking. So boom. And I just feel the need to talk about this shit now because, like, I done cried about it, laughed about it, moved on. I'm in a whole nother relationship. It's just the shit that you really go through in life. It really seems to amaze me, like what we go through as humans. But anyway, I eventually grew some balls and decided to put that shit in his car. I put it in his car for one day. One day was all I needed. One day was all I needed to really spaz out. But I really held my composure for 2 days, and I let the audio sit in there for 2 days. The first day he came back, I would wake up early in the morning. First of all, I'm all over the place with the story. I would wake up early in the morning, walk my dog, put the voice recorder in his car. I would hide it. It's very, very thin. He wasn't going to see it. No one's thinking it's going to be a voice recorder in his car, so I'm not even tripping. I put the voice recorder in his car in the morning when I go walk the dog. By the time he leaves the house, because at the time he's on house arrest, so he has a certain time to leave and a certain time to come back. So he leaves the house like from 2 and has to be back by 10:30. So, yeah, I walk Leo every morning, which is my dog, put it in there. By the time he come home, I go act like I'm about to walk my dog again, go get the voice recorder, keep it, because at that point, I can't listen to the audio because he's in the house. While he's in the shower, I'll plug it up, download the audio to my computer, and then the next day while he's out, I'll play back the audio.
Wow, that was badass. She actually put a voice recorder from Amazon in his car. That is really badass. I'm really proud of these girls because who would think of doing that? And like she said, she needed the courage. So she got the courage up. You have to be courageous because to find out the truth is going to break your heart. So some people would rather, as they say, ignorance is bliss. They'd rather live in ignorance and pretend everything's fine. But you can do that, or you can face the truth and face reality. And it's going to be so hard if you face reality because, it's just going to break your heart. And, it's going to be horrible. But you have to do it, you have to face reality. So this girl and the one go and call in the Maryland department to find out if there was divorce papers. I mean, God bless, good for you girls. I am so proud of you girls because, I just think that's amazing to be so smart, stand up for yourself. Don't let someone cheat on you. Don't let someone mistreat you. And look at they're young, they could go meet someone else. At least they found out now again, because so many people get tricked. And they marry a bad person and they don't know it because these people have the fakest personalities. I know so many girls, they have the fakest personalities. I'm sure plenty of guys too. And you have no idea who you're marrying. You have no idea until you're married to them and maybe you have kids and then you find out what a horrible person they are. When then you find out they're cheating on you, then you find out what they're really about. And it's like, it's going to be even harder then, but you can still get away. But it's just so horrible to think of how people can, destroy your life, almost take your life from you. But you can always get your life back, thank God. There's always time. But sometimes people don't find out till they're 50, 60, and they feel like they wasted all of their years. But it's not true, but, it's sad. So God bless. Thank God these girls found out when they did so they could get away. And I hope more people do that. You really have to investigate. And if you have, like they said, your women's intuition will tell you that something's wrong. And then these guys, or if the girl will be telling you, oh, you're crazy. If someone starts telling you you're crazy, that's probably a good indication that they probably might be up to something. When they start telling you that you're crazy, I don't know, guys. It seems like so many people do that. They just start putting it on you when meanwhile, because your intuition is telling you something's wrong. They'll say, oh no, you're crazy. So F these guys or girls, whoever's doing this stuff, F cheaters. Let's put it that way. F the cheaters. Anyway, guys, let me know if you have a cheating story time. Have you been cheated on? What do you think about, would you let your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend cheat on you? Some people, again, they think that's fine. And I don't know if they enjoy it. Maybe they have an open relationship and they enjoy I don't know, guys. If that's what makes them happy though, I don't know. I can't speak on that. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you're all doing good, and I'll see you very soon.